Hello, Big Brother fans. There was craziness that happened in the house last night. It, sometimes it takes just a ton of boredom for some craziness to start, and that's why I love listening to the feeds when you least expect it. People bail. They're like, "Oh, this is boring as hell." Well, guess what? When it's the boringest part is when the most important stuff comes out. So last night, Derek started instigating, and he started talking to Caleb, and I don't know how it all came about, but basically the alliance or the bomb squad has blown apart, or at least the part that Devin was a part of. Amber had talked to Caleb, saying that she doesn't like the way he doesn't allow her to finish a thought. He always breaks in, doesn't allow her to finish talking, and he says, I noticed that when we were in the room, that he never allowed you to finish anything that you were saying, and I don't like that. I think that he disrespects all of the women here. He doesn't allow any of you women to finish anything that you're saying. He even cuts me off. And then Derek says, well, you know what, I think we should each go in and tell him that that there are some of us that are in the alliance that are not happy with Brittany being put up, and we should reassess it. And then there was that conversation of, no, we can't do this, we can't do that. And basically Caleb, after they decided they weren't going to do it because they felt that Devin was too much of a loose cannon, Caleb just pulled him right out and aside, and just confronted him with everything they talked about how Christine was scared the entire time she was up there, and that the women are afraid of him, and they don't want to vote the way they don't want to vote the way he wants them to vote. They want to vote their own way, but they're afraid of him, so they are going to vote that way anyway. And Devin was like, where the hell is this coming from? So he decides he's going to call Christine out and says, why don't we allow them to speak for themselves? And of course, he's big and he's intimidating. So he's, of course, going to intimidate them into doing and saying exactly what he wants them to say. So they pull out Christine, and she's already shaking in her boots. She doesn't want any part of this. And he's like, do I intimidate you? Were you scared the entire time you were up there? He says, she says, I'm afraid when Derek calls me on the side. I'm afraid when, Frankie calls me on the side. Basically trying to, like, where the hell is this coming from? Where the hell is this going? I'm afraid of you, and I don't want to admit that I'm afraid of you. So basically that all ended up in a crapshoot, and it continued on between Caleb and Devin basically called him love struck, telling him this is all coming down to basically Amber, and her feelings of being bullied into, putting up the people that she put up, and having to vote a certain way, and not wanting to vote Brittany out. And, I can't believe that, we had it together before you two had it together. And Devin was like, I think it was Caleb that said, everything was all kosher until, you brought them in anyway, so basically it was like you were the one that screwed up this alliance in the first place. Anyway, it just came to the part where Devin said, what, this is it, we're done, our relationship is over, the alliance is done, like he was the one that created it, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it Caleb and Frankie who started this and brought him in, and then all of a sudden he's like this self-imposed ruler of the world all of a sudden. And anyway, when Devin said that, he said that in front of people who were not part of the alliance, and so of course, Frankie had to start running around and start putting out fires. So he had to put out the fire with Jocasta and say that, you know, those two had an alliance together, and that their alliance is broken. So, you know, he was hurrying and going out and putting out fire. But as someone pointed out in chat last night, 11 of the 15 people that are there in the house know about the alliance, because, you know, Devin said, you know, we can promise you safety, you know, to Hayden, to Nicole, to Pow Pow. And I mean, you know, it's ridiculous the amount of people that he's let in on this entire alliance. So I would really be surprised if it does last much longer than it already has. But that's where it was when I left off last night and I fell asleep listening to the feed. So I wasn't able to update you. I'm going to be running over to Joker's Updates. If you don't know about Joker's Updates, go there and check out, because everyone does such an awesome job at updating the feeds as to what has happened. And that way I'll be able to catch up with what happened while I was sleeping for the last 7 or 8 hours. Alright, you guys, that's all I have for now. They haven't done the POV yet, nor have they done have-nots. They're all still eating everything that's in the house. So I'll talk to you guys. Bye.